and gentlemen, welcome to the Ron and Fez Show. Well, boys, I reckon this is it.
Time is come to make a choice.
Fasten your seatbelt.
The fastest hour in radio.
Time's a luxury we don't have.
Only on the Ron and Fez Show.
Hurry up, Nut. Hurry up. Don't wait for me. Come on, let's go.
And now, Ron and Fez.
Bringing you the fastest hour in radio on WJFK, we're Ron and Fez.
Unlike the slowest 2 hours in TV, American Idol last night, this is the fastest hour in radio.
This is going to seem quick compared.
I would hope so. I would hope 1 hour always seems faster than 2 hours anyway.
John Kerry and some law enforcement unions suggested that the terror alert report for the summer had suspicious timing with the president's low approval ratings.
Well, won't he feel embarrassed when we have a huge explosion over the summer? Then is he going to be red-faced?
Unfortunately, that would be the only way to show him.
Yeah, that's about the only thing that'll work right now.
So how do you know who to believe at this point?
No one.
You've got these police unions that are saying, in major cities saying, we haven't gotten any information. Then you have John Ashcroft and the FBI director saying, here are the 7 people to look for.
Well, that's a good point, Fezzy. I really didn't even think about that. But you have, before you go to the general public and tell us which terrorists to look out for, how about to go to local PD all over the country and say, here's what we're doing. I thought we were tying all the law enforcement together on this.
Yeah, that's what we were supposed to do. That's why we developed a Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah.
So that all falls under one cabinet position.
Yeah, it would be a good idea that before you bring this problem to the general public and tell us, keep an eye out, and is it just me or is that terrorist girl kind of hot?
The terrorist girl of the 7?
Yeah.
To me, she looked a little bit like Lindy England.
Yeah, hot. I was thinking the same exact thing. Same exact thing. There's something about her. And maybe it's the bad girl, the crazy terrorist, but she looked good in that picture.
That's a little too bad for being a bad girl.
I didn't say I was going to marry her. I said before I turn her in, once I capture her, I'm going to, go a little torture prison on her ass. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to end up with the Lindy picture pointing at her where I got her tied up in the corner.
Lindy on the leash. Now, see, this is how bad we've gotten, where now we get the warning that something could happen this summer at the conventions, at the economic summit in Georgia. Anything could happen, and there's going to be people saying, I don't believe it. This is for political purposes.
Oh, you're saying even if we do have something happen.
Right, yeah. There's that nothing is above suspicion at this point. When you lie about a mission accomplished banner, when you lie about a turkey, when you lie about weapons of mass destruction, see what happens?
Why can't you believe in your president? You're a Republican. Why won't you believe in the man?
I don't know what to believe. I don't know what's fact and what's fiction anymore. But see, when you cry wolf like that and say this is a real turkey that troops are going to get to eat, this is what happens. I
wish he would actually cry wolf. That one would just to show you how far away you are on this now. If he went on TV and started screaming wolves, don't vote, there's wolves.
They're coming down from the mountain.
Yeah.
Yesterday, John Ashcroft said the political repercussions of the Spain terror attacks may cause al-Qaeda to try to disrupt American politics in this election year.
Good idea. Let's push this election back about 6 months or a year. And let's just put it off until we know what's happening.
I don't know who this favors. If there was a horrible terrorist attack, God forbid, who would that favor? In an election, would people say, no, we need to stay the course with President Bush? Or would they say, no, President Bush let us down and we were attacked again?
I don't think there's any real way to predict that. And I hope we never have to find out. And I hope that we don't start voting on explosions or out of fear. One of the things that really got to me when we went into Iraq is that there was so much fear in this country, nobody could talk against or bring up, here's reasons not to go in. I'm afraid that this election is kind of set up the same way. Did you see the article with Tom Clancy taking shots at the administration and the Pentagon and their leadership? And I'm like, well, here's Tom Clancy. He's the real right-wing nut. Why is it okay now for some of the right-wing guys to feel okay about talking out against the administration. The troops are over there now. The reason why we couldn't do this days leading up to the Iraq war is because, hey, you're letting down the morale of the troops. There's troops there now. Why is it okay now for you, Fez, for instance, to speak out against the war? Tom Clancy, different people are finally okay. At this point, now we can speak out, even though there's Americans there in danger every day.
And going with that theory, going along with it, it's the morale of the troops probably hasn't been lower, now than it was 14 months ago when they got there.
Yeah, but now why is everybody saying things that they used to be furious about the Dixie Chicks? And I had friends just furious. And first of all, if you're an American, you're allowed to speak out about anything you want. You know what I mean? I think an American should have the right to say, hey, I think my president is going in the wrong direction. I would kind of almost consider that being involved. And two, you don't listen to the Dixie Chicks, so what are you doing burning an album over with the Clear Channel nuts? Why have you ended up in that odd bonfire? Don't you realize the fear has got you deep and hard?
And that you went and bought the album just to crush it. So it still goes up on album sales. Now, at NYU yesterday, former VP Al Gore, he cut a promo on the White House and called for several Bush administration figures to resign, including Rummy, Condoleezza Rice, and George Tenet for the CIA.
I didn't hear or see this speech, Fez, but I read it. And I'm like, where was this guy 3.5 years ago? This is the guy who was fired up when he was Dullsville 3.5 years ago. Maybe he learned something by playing it safe. Maybe the pressure's not on now, and he can feel free to say this stuff without worrying about his own approval ratings. But the speech that I read, there was a lot of interesting stuff in there.
I saw part of this speech. He looked like a Southern evangelist, the way he's pounding on the podium. He does that a lot anymore. And he had this MoveOn.org crowd so wound up, they were just screaming through the whole speech. There wasn't even applause breaks. They were just going.
All right, Fezzy, but Janine Garofalo could have done the same thing with that crowd. I mean, that's the up against the wall MFers. That's the way that crowd is. So all you got to do is, start yelling down with Bush, and you're going to do okay for yourself.
But Gore and Clinton both are so extra Southern since they got out of the White House.
They're free to be. Now they're free to talk the way they really talked before.
And it sounded like someone was going to get a whooping from Al Gore.
Where does Gore live now? He's not still in Tennessee, is he?
I thought he was in Tennessee. I felt like they bought another farm there.
I think he's just riding around the country on a motorcycle like Bronson, just going from town to town, out there having adventures with people.
Clinton has slimmed down. Al Gore's beefed up a little bit.
Is that right?
Yeah, and, in a good way, carries it well. Big suits. Amnesty International said the U.S. has proved to be bankrupt of vision and bereft of principle in its fight against terrorism and the invasion of Iraq.
Sounds like we need to bomb them, Fez. Let's bomb Amnesty International. It's so funny because Amnesty International was some of the people that we used to use when it was time for us to go in to other countries and save them from crazy dictators. Well, according to Amnesty International, these people are out of their mind. Now we're the crazy people, where they're going to have some kind of an Amnesty International ball to raise money to stop the United States and some of the war crimes we're doing. It's embarrassing.
It's very weird when Amnesty International lays out the charges, and let's say they didn't mention a country and read everything off that's on the U.S. list, you would swear it was some sort of crazy Southeast Asian terror leader.
Oh, those people are sitting over in Southeast Asia going, thank God I'm being tortured here. I do not want that hood on my head. That was my Asian voice. I hope you liked it, everybody. Oh, you don't have to clap. It's something I was born with. It's a gene to do dialects. It's nothing really.
Way to go.
It's not the way I say it. It's what I say. That makes me so proud of the satire I do here every day.
So now we don't have Amnesty International on the U.S.'s side anymore.
I don't even know whether I should watch those balls that they put on, those comedy balls with Monty Python. I'm going to feel embarrassed now. They're raising money against us.
And you got Al Gore with the MoveOn.org group.
Yeah.
So the groups are lining up. Now it's starting to get a little organized here.
Al Gore, weren't you supposed to move on by now? I don't understand why you're still here.
Al Gore did the thing in his speech where he did this administration planted the seeds of war and have grown the tree of tyranny and produced the fruit of evil.
Oh, I'm not getting that. Who was he speaking to? A bunch of people at a Renaissance festival?
All I know is it made me want to have an apple.
Yeah, I'm starving too. Why would you bring up apple? It's almost lunch.
John Kerry called the rise in gas prices the Saudi Bush gasoline tax.
All right, do you like anything the president's doing, John, or are you just turning everything around yourself?
To me, it's a wonder.
John Kerry should be upset, though, because with these gas prices, do you know what it costs to fill up his plane? I mean, you try heating 5 different mansions. It's very, very difficult for him right now.
The Freedom Bird and the Freedom Nest.
I would not name my plane anything that sounded too close to Freebird. It would just completely. I mean, there's no one on his staff who went, "Hey, that Freedom Bird, a little too close to that Skinnerd plane that hit the dirt."
I like whenever they describe the Freedom Bird that they say it has a full office and also converts into a bar. You know, so it's just like all of a sudden the traveling party plane.
It's the shaggin' wagon with wings. I can't imagine how many chicks he gets for himself. I'm sure he does all right. All right, we're going to take a break here, Fezzy. Fastest hour in radio. We're right back. It's the Ron and Fez Show.